Dels Ducks Hockey here on the Minnesota Sports Broadcasting Network and under Dels Ducks Media on YouTube. Matt Panier joined by Coach Shaun Falzone. And Coach, 4 in a row, you guys are rolling right now.
We're trying to make the third place in the playoffs, so we got to keep winning. So we're on a roll.
Maple Grove last week, Jim and I kind of made the reference that perhaps that could be a little bit of a trap game. They're coming in, they're a desperate team, and you saw that through the first 2 periods last week when they really kind of gave you guys all they could, or all they could, and kind of put you guys on the ropes there for a little bit.
Yeah, the hard thing about that is you're playing against a team that is, hasn't had any wins yet, so they have nothing to lose. They're not losing a spot in their playoffs. They're not losing any spot anywhere. They're there to win a game because that's what their goal is. So I think my team came in a little bit overconfident, even though we explained it to them 1,000 times. And it caught them for the first 2 periods, like, oh, okay. And then the third period came along, and we finally took ourselves and took the win back.
Maybe not just the third period, but it seemed like a carryover through the next 3 periods. So really those final 4 periods of the weekend series, there wasn't much as far as Maple Grove keeping close with you guys.
No, once the team finally figured out, okay, they're actually here to play, and coaches actually telling me things that's true, they went out and played harder, and they knew if we ended up being their first loss, it wasn't going to be a pretty practice on Monday. So
we've talked to the newer players. They've been here for a couple weeks now, starting to assimilate into your locker room. You see players like Ryan Devine, Kruger, Rhodey, really starting to find their way on this team. What has the transition been like for you now? We talked to you a couple weeks ago, and just 2 more weeks into the season with these guys.
It's going good. I mean, we're finding better spots for them, where they belong, what positions they belong in. We're finishing off our roster. We picked up 1 more. Actually, just finished it today, so we have an extra player joining us pretty quick here, and it's bringing in that more of the momentum we need to get the kids, get the guys rolling, understanding that everything counts, every game counts, and bringing extra players in and find their roles is making them think, okay, we got to work harder.
What we noticed last week was, in that first game, it was the top line. It was Becky, Warren, and Devine that really started to get the scoring going for you. If you looked on the score sheet, those Becky and Warren were all the way plastered through it. But then you go into the Saturday session, you get 2 from Casella right away, you get Brenneman on the score sheet, and the scoring depth really started to come through. How important was it for you to see that?
Yeah, our goal is to push at least 3 top lines goal scoring. Problem is when you have 1 top line scoring goals, everybody's starting to target those guys and doubling them up and following them. When you get more than 1 line scoring, it's a lot harder to follow a team along, and that's what our goal is, to have 3 to 4 lines, just lighten it up, and everybody pitching in on goals there.
So you had mentioned your goal a couple of weeks ago to jump up to the 3rd spot. Now it's very well within reach. The Owls only 4 points ahead of you. You have a game in hand after the 4 wins, especially those 2 big ones against Hudson and then the wins against Maple Grove. How much can you guys taste this right now?
We want it. We definitely want it. The next 2 games here are going to be huge for us. We want to make sure we have that run for 3rd place, and the only way to get there is by beating them twice here, and which it makes it at home. It makes a big plus for us, and with us winning the last 4 games, gives it a little more push.
They got 3 on you. You guys have 2. Included in those 2 was last time these 2 teams met right here. They started off with a very nice start again. They had the 9-4 win the night before, and then came out and took an early lead, and it looked like, oh no, here we go again. But you guys fought back, end up winning the shootout. What did that do to change the momentum for you guys in that Saturday session?
It was big for us. I mean, it was you play that first game and you get your butt kicked, and it takes a little bit out of you. But when you play the second game and the team just beats you really bad, all of a sudden you're beating them, makes the team's confidence go back up, going, all right, we had a bad game, but it was just a bad game. We can beat these guys as long as we keep working hard at it.
Since we last talked to you, we've really seen the emergence of Dan O'Leary as a goaltender, and Jim and I had discussed maybe he was kind of the forgotten guy in the rotation. You had Rowe with Sally Hansen playing so well, and then O'Leary would step in and maybe struggle a little bit, at least in comparison to Rowe and Sally Hansen. But now if you take a look, O'Leary is playing just as well as those 2, maybe if not better right now.
Yeah, it's came out strong. He started off really strong at the beginning of the season, kind of fell off in a little bit middle of the season. We talked about it. It was all mental stuff and ideas, and then we got the break off at Christmas. Then he came back and he goes, "I'm ready to play," and he proved it in his last couple of games. I mean, he's held out against some strong teams, and he's taken the wins in all of them. So that's what we're looking for him.
What kind of an effect is that having on Rowe and Sally Hansen? Are they sort of taking a look and saying, okay, time for us to step up now too.
Yeah, they definitely they look at each other and everybody's competing. I mean, we do a rotation to the most part, but they all want to compete to be the top goalie, so they're going to keep, it pushes them to work harder. Thinking now instead of only having to beat one, now I gotta go back and beat 2 goalies. So now they're pushing themselves so hard, they're going farther in that way.
Just going back to the games this week, and the Minnesota Owls come in, and they're a very different squad than what you faced last week. Maple Grove, high energy, fast pace, try to score goals, where Minnesota kind of seems to have that mentality of we'll beat you by beating you.
Yeah, they're going to come out physical. They're a physical team. That is where they have their most dominance. When they come out hitting hard. The advantage to us now is we added a couple of the big guys on the team. So we got the more size, and we're starting to equal out with the physical portion and the skill portion with our team, which is what's going to help us prevail this weekend, hopefully.
It's Coach Shaun Falzone of the Dallas Ducks. The Ducks oh so close to that 3rd place in Minnesota Junior Hockey League standings.